Matthew's going to meet his mother to talk about her side of the family. He knows very little, except for the intriguing fact that his grandmother, Peggy Landale, was born in China.
Here's a picture of the grandparent you remember, my mother, Peggy Landale. There she is as a child, in China with her Chinese nanny.
Goodness.
Isn't that amazing?
So when was she born? Turn of the century?
1903.
03.
And then there's another picture of her later with her father.
It's a very similar expression.
And that's David Landale.
Your grandfather?
That's my grandfather. And I imagine that must have been taken in China, because she lived in China till she was 11.
It's definitely the hair loss side of the family comes from them, doesn't it?
Yet I'm afraid your boys are quite in danger.
The odds are stacked against them.
But you are in danger too. But
well,
yeah.
I hope not.
Matthew's great-grandfather, David Landale, worked for a firm called Jardine Matheson in Shanghai.
What was Jardine Matheson? Kind of a...
Trading in China. No, his mother was a Jardine.
Right.
So I think that that was a family firm.
So he got a job in the family company?
Yeah, I think so.
To find out more about his great-grandfather David Landale and the family firm of Jardine Matheson, Matthew's going to visit the Landale family home in Scotland.
What's fascinating to me is David Landale, my great-grandfather, made his fortune in China. When he came home, bought this house, and it stayed essentially within his family ever since.
The current owner of the Dal Swinton estate is Matthew's cousin, Peter Landale.
How are you?
Very good, nice to see you. Do you remember Aunt Jan Robson?
Hello, Nine.
Long time.
Peter's father, Sir David Landale, also lives on the estate.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Come in. Well, let's introduce you to one or two of the folk that are around about. I'm going to work backwards to begin with. All right.
Okay.
So this is your and my great-grandfather. Right?
Yes, David Landale.
David Landale, and it is Aunt Jan's grandfather and my father's grandfather.
Right.
And he was the son of another David Landale and Helen, who was a Jardine previously.
But there was a link that my mother thought was that the Jardines of her set up a company that then he eventually worked within.
And that picture up there is William Jardine, who was of the Jardine family, which was Jardine Matheson's, which the Landales all went to work for.
In 1907, Matthew's great-grandfather David Landale became managing director of Jardine Matheson, the firm the family believes was founded by their ancestor, William Jardine. Matthew's come to the School of Oriental and African Studies in London to meet with historian Robert Bickers, an expert on Shanghai.
You know, I know David Landale works for Jardine Matheson, but I'm not really clear about what Jardine Matheson was doing.
If there is a company which calls itself the most preeminent on the China coast trade, it's Jardine's.
Turn-of-the-century Shanghai was one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world, a booming commercial centre with a large expat community. China was not part of the British Empire, but in 1842 it granted the British a district within Shanghai from which to trade. The expat quarter, known as the International Settlement, had its own independent government, the Municipal Council, which had no direct responsibility to the Chinese government or to the British. David Landale became the chairman of the Municipal Council in 1907.
Now, the managing director of Jardine Matheson nearly always had a seat on the municipal council. This is a company history. Here's...
Oh, yes, there
and
he
there
is.
he is. Yeah.
David Landale followed an early pattern of Jardine success. His mother was a Jardine, yes. Although no relation to the founder. Oh, well, that was different to what I was told then in Scotland. They thought that he got his job because of his mother's connections.
Right.
So, no relation to the founder. So that's quite different to what I was told.
The Landales say the portrait that hangs in the family home is of their ancestor William Jardine, the founder of Jardine Matheson. But the company history says David Landale was not related to the founder. What is certain is that a man called William Jardine founded the firm in 1832.
Jardine was the man who really engineered the rise of the company. They were commission agents and dealers in cotton and opium.
In opium?
Oh, opium.
I didn't know that.
Jardine's was the most prominent of the British opium companies, which were operating in China in the early part of the 19th century.
But at that stage, there was, obviously wasn't illegal. I mean, it was...
Well, it led to a war.
Right.
The East India Company began shipping Indian-grown opium to China in the late 18th century. Ignoring the Chinese ban on the drug, they developed a lucrative mass market amongst the Chinese population. During the 1830s, Jardine Matheson grabbed most of the business. A decade later, when the Chinese confiscated foreign opium stocks, William Jardine himself lobbied for British military action to protect the trade. The 2-year Opium War ensued. Britain crushed the Chinese imperial forces and won access to trading ports all along the China coast, including Shanghai.
So after the war, did Jardine steer clear of opium?
Oh, no.
They
carry on into the very early 1870s, and then they were beat by the competition. So Jardine's then become a very important shipping firm on the China coast. So by the time David Landale is there, Jardine's is not involved in the opium trade.
But would opium have been readily available throughout Shanghai, throughout his time there?
In 1908, there were 1,500 opium houses in the international settlement.
So that's quite a significant...
Yep. And they were licensed by the municipal council.
Well, 1,500 registered opium houses is huge. I mean, it's just massive. And so David Landale's part on the council, at the very least, he had to come in contact with that. So that's, I don't know now whether I'm kind of going to be treading into a bit of a family minefield or not.